Hello, and welcome to Sunday School. My name is Kyrio Nicholas Athanasou, and I am the Sunday School teacher for the high school boys class at the parish of St. Spiridon at Kingsford. Once, towards the end of the 1650s, a boy called Nicholas was born in the town of Karpenisi in Greece to Orthodox Christian parents, who raised him to be pious and educated, and at the age of 15 he went to Constantinople, where he worked in his father's general variety store at a place called Tahtakale. His father, however, wanted him to be educated, so he had his son tutored in the Turkish language by a well-educated Muslim neighbor who was a barber. Soon, the tutor plotted with a group of soldiers to make young Nicholas a Muslim. One day, in the presence of these soldiers, the barber presented Nicholas the Muslim declaration of faith in Turkish to read. He was still learning, so he read it aloud in front of these men. And after being informed that he had just declared himself to be a Muslim, Nicholas responded, "I am an Orthodox Christian, and not what you say. I am duty-bound to read whatever lesson the teacher gives me." Afterwards, the Muslims present took Nicholas and presented him to the judge. The Muslim said to the judge, "This man, master, made a declaration of faith in our presence. And if you wish to be convinced of the truth, look where he has written the declaration of faith. He reads it every hour. Now we ask him to become a Muslim and he mocks our faith." To this the judge said, "Nicholas, why have you written and read the declaration of faith, and now you don't want to become a Muslim?" Nicholas boldly responded, "Today, while my teacher taught me my lesson, he gave me this declaration and told me to read it. But I did not know it was a declaration of faith. I thought that since he is my teacher, it was necessary to read whatever he gave me." But the judge responded, "Nicholas, because you have read the declaration of faith, you must become a Muslim. I will give you whatever great office you want. I will give you riches. I will honor you. I will glorify you in the kingdom." To this Nicholas replied, "I am an Orthodox Christian, and I believe in my Christ as the true God. I don't need the honors and offices which you promise me. I will not deny my Christ, and for the sake of his name I will die. I will therefore not become a Muslim." Due to Nicholas's godly stubbornness, the judge had him thrown into prison with murderers and deprived him of food and water. He spent 65 days in prison and was given only enough food and water eventually just to keep him alive. He was then brought before the judge once more, in the presence of other Muslims who gathered and shouted, "Either he becomes a Muslim or he dies." Of course, Nicholas refused to embrace Islam. So he was thrown in prison once again, where he was beaten often and severely. Soon afterwards, Nicholas was brought before the judge, who flattered him and urged him not to allow his life to be lost prematurely, and said that due to his youth, he was not able to fully comprehend the truth of Islam, but to accept it nonetheless. Nicholas responded that he wanted to die an Orthodox Christian as soon as possible, rather than convert to Islam. Nicholas was therefore sentenced to death and taken to Tahtakale. He had the flame of the love of Christ in his heart, and had such joy as if he were going to his own wedding. And when the executioner asked Nicholas to kneel, he stretched out his neck as far as he could to make the executioner's job easier. Having said his final prayer, Nicholas's head was struck off, sealing his confession for Christ with the blood of his martyrdom in the year 1672. Because of his work as a grocer, we now know him as Saint Nicholas the New Martyr, or Saint Nicholas the Grocer, and in Greek, Pantopoulos. But why? Why did this happen? Why was it that Saint Nicholas had to witness for his faith? It all starts from May 29, 1453, when the city of Constantinople, the great capital of the Orthodox Christian Byzantine Empire, which was founded by Saint Constantine the Great, fell to the Muslim Ottoman Turks. While the Turks allowed the Orthodox Christians in their empire some freedom to practice their religion, there were many instances where this freedom was violated, and new martyrs, also known as neo-martyrs, stood up for what they believed in. And this wasn't just in the Ottoman Empire. Even in the 20th century, we have seen new martyrs in far-off places like Russia and China. There were many thousands of these martyrs in the hundreds of years of Ottoman rule. We don't know the full extent of how many there were, even to this day, but my estimate would be at least 10,000 martyrs. The martyrs came from a range of backgrounds, had a range of occupations, yet martyred for one reason: their Orthodox faith. These martyrs were everything from bishops to converts from Islam, from children to the elderly, from princes to slaves. One of these was Saint Nicholas the New Martyr. For some of these martyrs, all we know are their names. For others, their stories are recorded and preserved to inspire us by their shining example. Many of them suffered like Saint Nicholas. Many even suffered worse tortures. However, for these saints, the torture was nothing compared with their love for God. Two characteristics shared by all of the neo-martyrs are their steadfast faith and courage and their spirit of sacrifice. Their faith was so strong that nothing could unsettle them. Nothing could make them waver. They believed in the words of God. Do not fear those who kill the body, but cannot kill the soul. Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And so when we read the lives of saints like this, we can often think to ourselves, this is a very incredible story, or how did the saint even manage to survive this torture? But we forget to look at what we, sitting here in Sydney today, can learn from the life of the saint so we can bring ourselves closer to God. For a few seconds, I want you to think about the new martyrs and ask yourself, or maybe ask your sibling sitting next to you, the question, what can I learn from these saints? What can I learn from Saint Nicholas the New Martyr? One thing we can take is the courage of the new martyrs. But where do we need to be courageous in our lives? There aren't people out there trying to kill us, but there are situations out there where our willingness to confess our belief in God gets tested. This could be when you're about to do your cross before eating at school, and a voice inside you says, what if the other kids see me? What if everyone else sees what I'm doing? Another way we get tested is if we confess God through how we behave. The martyrs were witnesses of Christ. Do our actions that we perform every day in our everyday lives witness for Christ? Do others see Christ in what we do? To accomplish this challenge, we need to take up another characteristic of the new martyrs: sacrifice. They gave up everything for Christ. But if we reflect on our actions and our thoughts more carefully, we can see that there are some times where we put Christ in second place, sometimes even lower. We choose what we want over what God wants for us. Changing this is a lifelong mission. It's not going to happen overnight, but this mission is one which is rewarding in ways that you cannot imagine. So when the challenge comes, and it will, take strength from the fact that the new martyrs are walking alongside you.